Now, I think it's pretty safe to say that by far, one of the most mysterious aspects of the Star Wars sequel trilogy has all to do with the character of Rey and her parents, as well as Palpatine in The Rise of Skywalker. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, we are just 27 days away from the official release of this movie, and we are only getting closer and closer to the release of Episode 9 to witness exactly how J.J. Abrams is going to end the entire Skywalker saga and the sequel trilogy, and exactly, well, how it's going to resonate with fans around the world. And that's the most important thing about Disney and Lucasfilm here, is that they really have to make this film very much a satisfactory movie for fans in order to really move the franchise forward in a positive sense. Now, on top of all of this, a lot of fans have been very much intrigued about Rey's lineage / Rey's parents and exactly where they fit into the story by JJ, Chris Terrio, and George Lucas. Now, what's really intriguing has all to do with, of course, Rey's parents, and specifically, shot descriptions consisting of a sequence where it's explained that Rey is heading down toward a large base that is said to be built into a large canyon on a rocky world that is described to be a base / hideout that once belonged to her father. As Rey makes her way closer to the destination, it's said that she is traveling by speeder as she gets closer to the large structure that has metallic doors that stand around 40 feet high. Rey reaches the entrance and opens the doors by pushing a hidden button on a side panel, where she begins to make her way down to a set of spiral stone steps that leads to a basement. This is where Rey finds her way to a hidden lab that contains many relics that belong to both the Jedi and the Sith that her father collected. Rey activates a hollow projector that creates a hologram of her father, revealing a vital secret about Palpatine, that he was the one responsible for helping to create clones on the desert world of Jakku. However, all of those clones were destroyed by young Skywalker during the Battle of Jakku, which took place roughly 1 year after the Battle of Endor, and that Palpatine needed to find another way of eternal life. Rey's father is said to have a strange connection to Palpatine, and was once a part of the Church of the Force even, and went by the name of Yahn, Y-A-H-N. While Rey was a child, Rey's parents would move around the galaxy, hiding Rey from Darth Sidious and his Sith Loyalists, scattered throughout the entire galaxy looking for her, to the point where Rey became a legend within the First Order years later, to which Kylo Ren knew about, hence, "What girl?" as Kylo Ren says in The Force Awakens. At one time, when Rey's parents were raising around the world of Coruscant, which is said to be Rey's parents' home world. However, it's unclear if Rey was born here. Rey's mother is also said to be strong through the ways of the Force and goes by the name of Melinza, and was said to have given birth to Rey. In one of the takes by George Lucas and J.J. Abrams, it's explained that Palpatine initiated a power within the Force and focused his energy on Melinza and transferred his DNA into Melinza and created Rey, to which Rey is said to hold Palpatine's DNA and is technically Palpatine's granddaughter. This is said to be why Rey's parents would hide Rey from planet to planet around the entire galaxy, and that they trusted no one. Before Rey was born, it's explained that Melinza knew of what Palpatine did, and that Palpatine even transferred some of his DNA over into Melinza, which is why Rey takes after Palpatine, and that her lineage will explain why she's so powerful in the Force. Rey's parents would eventually drop Rey off on the desert world of Jakku and gave her to Zori Bliss to hide her before Melinza and Yahn were killed by Palpatine's 2 Sith Loyalists. However, it's explained that her parents were killed with a Sith dagger with ancient Sith code written on the hilt on the weapon, and that Rey will be able to see visions of her parents' death later on in the movie in present time that will make her understand exactly who she really is and where she comes from, and that Palpatine will unveil his connection to her in the 3rd act of Episode 9. So let's go over a couple of parts about this. Now, the thing about Episode 9 here is that, yes, once again, you could see the true elements of family making its way back into The Rise of Skywalker. And at the end of the day, that is what Star Wars is. It's a space opera. You know, as George once said in an interview, it's not just about spaceships, lightsabers, and wars. It's about family. And that's the true heart of Star Wars. And that's what I like about it, too, is because it really is a space opera. That's literally the definition of Star Wars from Episode 1 to now Episode 9, and moving on forward to the new mythology, the new trilogy that Disney and Lucasfilm are trying to craft for the 2020s. Now, the one thing that I do want to go over here that really does stand out to me a lot is that it's actually explained that Rey's parents were born on the world of Coruscant, which could very well explain as to why Rey has that Coruscant-y dialect. It could very well explain that. I know it's not the exact same dialect, but it's very similar. Now, when we look at the character of Rey, alright, this was confirmed a couple of months ago that she was not born on Jakku, and that fits directly in with this, is that she was actually born on, of course, Coruscant, or raised on Coruscant, I should say, with both her parents, Melinda and Yan. Now, Melinda and Yan are said to be two powerful Force-sensitive individuals, but Melinda is said to be the one that actually gave birth to Rey, through, of course, the Force that was initiated by Palpatine using a specific power that allowed him to transfer his DNA over into Melinda, and then hence when Melinda gave birth to Rey, she would actually have Rey as the granddaughter of Palpatine and realize exactly what happened. This kind of reminds me of Shmi Skywalker and could absolutely explain everything that we have wanted to know with the Phantom Menace and who the father really was of Anakin Skywalker. Now, when we look at the comics, they even hinted at Palpatine doing this to Shmi, where Shmi was actually giving birth to Anakin. That was all initiated by Palpatine from afar. Very creepy, I must add, but at the same exact time, very clever of Star Wars to kind of just change elements of history as we know it within the Skywalker saga, looking back at the prequels. So the character of Rey, the other piece that I do want to go over is that yes, her parents are killed by Palpatine's two Sith Loyalists. Now, in case you guys are wondering, what in the world are these Sith Loyalists? Are they Force-sensitive, or are they Dark Acolytes? That we're not quite sure about. All we know is that they are dedicated to Palpatine, and they are very loyal to Palpatine's new Sith Empire. And basically, they follow his every command to track down what Palpatine needs to get tracked down. And for a very long time, Palpatine was looking for Rey, to the point where Rey even became a small legend within the First Order, where everybody started naming her as the girl, basically the offspring of Palpatine, and that was a legend. And that was actually a big legend in the First Order only, and hence why Kylo Ren says when he chokes that First Order officer in, I would say, the beginning of The Force Awakens, once they leave Jakku, is where Kylo Ren says, "What girl?" In fact, if you guys read the novelization of The Force Awakens, when he first sees Rey, there's even a moment where Kylo Ren says, "So it is you." Now, those lines of dialogue, we had no idea what in the world Kylo Ren was talking about back then, but now you could see exactly where it's all falling into place. Even in the final trailer, we get a little hint of this type of line of dialogue as well, where Rey keeps saying, "People keep telling me that they know me, but nobody does." And Kylo Ren says, "But I do." So all those lines of dialogue, right? What girl? So it is you, but I do, right? Tells us that Kylo Ren has either known the truth or has just learned the truth, that she is indeed the myth, the legend, the offspring of Palpatine. Now, the other piece that I do want to go over here is that Yan was actually said to have a strange connection to Palpatine and even helped create Palpatine clones that were ultimately destroyed by young Luke Skywalker during the Battle of Jakku. Now, in the Legends of Luke Skywalker book, I don't know if you guys read it, but it does give us a big hint and/or indicator that Luke had a large presence on Jakku and even took down a Star Destroyer. So you can see exactly why they're really trying to tie a lot of canon material into the upcoming film The Rise of Skywalker by JJ to give fans a better sense of Episode 9 and where things are really going. And honestly, guys, I cannot wait to see everything related to Palpatine. It's the main reason, I'll be honest, as to why I want to see this movie, is everything related to Palpatine, Rey, and Kylo Ren, and how that entire dynamic is going to look like on the big screen. You know, that's the main reason as to why I'm very intrigued about this movie, you know, everything related to Rey's lineage and all of that. It sounds like it's going to be quite an interesting experience. As far as everything else, though, I am concerned about certain elements of this movie and worried about what actually has been going on behind the scenes between Disney and Lucasfilm, piecing this movie together and doing, you know, all these different aspects of the film over, and especially switching things around and kind of just trying to get an idea of what to really do. So anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
Nights in the